On the morning of 16th June 1976, the Soweto Uprising began, a series of protests led by black school children decrying apartheid and its effect on the quality of their education. An estimated 10,000 students participated. They were met with police brutality which left over 100 of them dead. The Soweto Uprising led to an international outcry against the apartheid government, strengthening the fight. To commemorate this day, the OAU established the Day of the African Child, celebrated each year since 1991. It has since evolved to focus on the diverse rights of children. This year's theme is Access to a Child-Friendly Justice System.
We have seen, even in our country, that there are challenges to education, and the government has taken steps to improve literacy in the country and to improve access to education for children in Kenya.
Yeah.
However, we are still not at the point where we would like to be.
Absolutely.
So today with us we have Evangeline Kanyiri, who has extensive experience on child protection issues in Kenya, and we will be having a discussion on access to child-friendly justice.
So due to social distancing issues and with the current crisis, she will be joining us via Skype. So yeah, we're looking forward to having a conversation with her. And karibu sana, Evangeline.
Hi!
Hi!
Habari yako?
Pasana. Hi guys.
Thank you so much for coming to sit and talk with us. Now, looking at this year's theme on access to
Child-friendly justice system.
Child-friendly justice system.
Oh yeah, child-friendly. Sorry.
Yeah, what does that even mean, Evangeline? What does that mean? Access to a child-friendly justice system.
Children also find themselves in need of justice. So giving children that platform where they feel that their views were heard and their needs were met, so that whichever point of the justice system they find themselves in, whether they were at a police station reporting a case of sexual abuse or even physical abuse, were they supported or were they sent to bring a parent or an elder who was the perpetrator? Yeah, were they given even the hearing, like when they, especially when parents are separating, did they get a chance to say which side they want to go with, or were they forced to go with mommy? Yeah, giving them that opportunity to be heard and also making it friendly for the children to feel comfortable and relaxed, so that if it is in a court of law, what are they experiencing? Do they understand what is happening? Or they're just there to be seen and not to be heard? So it's just making it child-friendly in the need of the child.
So participation is very important, so that life does not just happen to children. They are active in what is happening to them, and they are able to then make decisions. You mentioned a child reporting abuse. They have been abused, right? And they will sometimes be asked to go and bring an adult who may be the perpetrator. What options does a child have?
On the same, when a child is going to report a case of abuse, this is a boy or a girl, and they're uncomfortable reporting to an officer of the opposite gender, are there mechanisms that have been set to ensure that this child is comfortable enough? Because this doesn't just happen to children alone, even to adults. So I'm wondering, children being minors, how do they really handle it? If I'm going to report, I've been abused by my father, I'm a boy, and I have to go and report to a policeman. Am I really comfortable reporting to the same person, similar to the one who abused me? Yeah, so there's also that aspect.
They have the room to also air their views, their thoughts. If you're uncomfortable, they give that discomfort. What is it that they do not feel comfortable with? So that they are not being sent to a man and they are already feeling threatened that this could also do the same as the other person reporting. So there is need for them to also to just make them feel at ease. At times we are in a rush maybe to get those details and run with it, but there's need to sit back and listen to this child. What are they saying? When maybe we send them to that man and they go be mute, it communicates something.
Yeah, true.
So there's need to listen even to their unspoken words and actions so that we are able to fit into their needs. On the issue of an adult, there are people around us. So also making children aware that they can talk to somebody they trust. Because the perpetrator may be a parent, but the mama mboga where they buy their mboga is somebody they can pour their heart out to. So children need to be taught to identify people they can trust, that they can help one another, even talking to their own friends who will talk to their mommy or such, so that they don't struggle. Maybe even the police station where they're supposed to go reporting is far, but maybe the chief at the neighborhood may offer the support. So for them to just know where to go to in terms of any challenge they may experience.
Okay.
I would like to appreciate the fact that Kenya has made several milestones, starting with the enactment of the Children's Act of 2001, and of course, which ensures that there's a children's court and ensures also there's privacy, ensuring that the child's identity, home, school, relatives are all closed to the public and are not known by the public. So aside from that, there's that aspect of the private nature in which children's cases are handled. Do you think they should be private per se, or they should be handled in such a way that the child's identity is still protected, but it's still, the case is still open to the public? Because there's this notion that when justice is denied in private, the public is also a venue through which justice can be provided, especially through the media. So there's also that aspect.
Publicity. You find that most children issues are held in camera to protect the interest of that child, so that we don't meet the child on the streets and we say this is the child whose case was happening. So I feel them being in private is a good thing, so that this child is able to be accorded their freedom to talk, because even being in a public, maybe this child does not have the confidence to even talk to her classmates, and now she's being put in front of strangers. So giving them that room where they only sit maybe with a magistrate, maybe with a children officer and a parent they feel more relaxed and at ease, so that they are not in a hurry to maybe air their thoughts on issues affecting them, but they also feel protected that whatever is discussed is not brought to the public. We saw the other day the case of children who were handed over to the mother, but they refused the mother. They didn't put the faces of the children, but you see already now every time those children, if somebody knows the man, we will always refer to them watoto wana need. So there's need to always protect the children. You'll find at times even the files in court, they don't write the name of the child. So it's just the that are used, so that you're not able, when you hear that child being famous, that they have released a song, you will not tag them to the song and whatever case they are being accused of, or they are victims of, or survivors of. So there's that need to protect the child so that they're able to live their life without any interference from external. You see how the youth, when they present something in the public, people go back to their history, their social media, to see where you have come from. So in the best interest of the child, it's good that the issue remains private. Then as they go along, they'll share with us their stories.
Okay.
But now, Evangeline, on the same, what happens when there's a case, maybe, let's say 2 children, maybe, this is a child is being abused by both parents. Maybe one is doing it sexually, another one emotionally, etc. Now there's a case that is ongoing, and now since both parents are involved, we're expecting this child to get justice. this case is being handled privately. The public never gets to hear of it. And for one reason or another, maybe the parents are not charged for the mistakes or for the crimes they committed. So what happens when cases are handled privately? They're not known by the public and the child doesn't get justice.
Yeah, or even in situations where, for example, let us give an example where let's mention, for example, a man is abusing the daughter. Okay, we're not coming for men, we're just giving an example. And so in many cases, such instances, the wife of the perpetrator, now who is the man, will possibly want to keep it silent because this man may be the breadwinner of that home. So yes, my child is suffering, but if he goes in, what do we eat? Right? So, and that is not in the best interest of the child. So if this case is heard privately, how do we then get to that point where this child gets justice? Or does the child have to wait until they are 18 to be able to seek justice for themselves?
When we say private, it doesn't mean that it's just a small portion of people who may have the information, because you may find that the police are aware of the case. You may find the area chief is aware of the case. The children officer of that area may be aware of the case. So even as they go to the court, at times the other stakeholders may come on board to also air their views. So if maybe, for example, the magistrate may seek guidance, because they will always also consult. What is the issue here? How do we go about it? So there are those small instances where maybe it may not go as intended, but the principle of the best interest of the child is always the consideration. So that if you find that these parents, and most times now when the parents are both involved, or when the parents are likely to interfere with the case, then there is the alternative of getting the child to a better place where they'll not be influenced. Because when you ask the child, sasa dadi akifungwa tutatoa wapi food ama rent, the next time they come to court, they will say he didn't do anything. So always there are people who are involved to support the child, so that they do not suffer influence of either the parents. Even the community can turn against the child. So in the best interest of the child, the magistrate will consult with others around them so that they can establish truthfully what could have happened, because also people can also be evil. So you don't want to run with a case and then find maybe they are fighting over a piece of land and they want the man out of the way so that they can take them. There is so many people involved, so that they ensure that the child is protected and the matter is handled in the best interest of the child.
So you've mentioned quite a few people there, Evangeline. You've talked about police officers, you've mentioned someone called a children's officer, and we would like to know, one, what are their roles? How do you even get in touch with these people? If I am a child, or I'm a person who is in a very remote place, or maybe not, and I feel I may not have the capacity, because a child may not have even fare to go to the police station, how is it that I can get help as a child? Are there mechanisms that are set in place for children to seek support?
Yeah, we have the facilities in place, because you find there is the child helpline 116, which is toll free. So meaning that anyone can call from anywhere and be able to be guided. And I'm sure most children are made aware of this, and even having them know of this number, so that if you cannot remember any other person's number, just remember the 116, call, and then explain your situation. And I know it works, because I've heard of cases where children are referred and they are able to get help. The other issue is we have area chiefs, we have the assistant chiefs in place. So when the child is able to go to that locality, they can be guided still by the chiefs. They may not be able to go to the children office if it's a distance, but through those channels of the area chief, there are organizations in their localities that are able to help them. so that they don't feel out of place. And like I said, at times even having that trusted adult. It could be a pastor, it could be a teacher, it could be somebody who will help the child hit the ground so that they don't feel helpless, they don't feel they cannot go anywhere with their case. And even the one who's in the most remote area can reach out to such local people around them so that they get support.
Awesome. So you've heard it, guys, 116. That's a number that you need to teach your children to know to call. What is it that you would like, for example, as someone who works in child protection, what is it that you would like to see the government do, or what is it that you would like to see parents or the community do to improve the situation or the well-being of children?
I wish, personally, actually, it's the parents who can do much, because the government has put its measures in place. But if as a parent you're not aware of your child's right, or you just ignore, because at times it's just ignorance. So if we would support our children, if we would walk with them through their life's needs, rather than just leaving them to fate to discover, and just giving them that support system, so that if they have a challenge, if somebody winks at them on the road and they come and ask, what does that mean? Just walk them through it and let them understand that this can happen, and you do not want to interact with strangers because it will leave you exposed and would expose you to more dangers. So parents and the community at large have a big role to play, so that we also support the government to ensure that everything runs in the interest of the child, because once we rescue the child, we are sure our future is secure, rather than having children who are walking around with baggages and hurts that have been inflicted by adults. So there's need for us to support the children.
Thank you so much, Evangeline. It was great to have you. You've given us so many nuggets of wisdom, and we are enlightened, and we hope that you have been as well. So ensure that you inform your children, actually educate yourself before you even educate your children. Educate yourself, find out what the children's rights are, what the children's act says, and follow the government closely. Look at what policies they have put in place, what bills are being passed, right? Because as Evangeline said, the children are our future.
Yeah, my take home will be, it is our responsibility to be, our neighbors' keepers. My neighbor's child is going through something and I'm keeping quiet, that's a big problem. So don't just look after your own children, your neighbors, your community, the children in the community are equally your responsibility. So if something is happening to the child near you or any child you come across, please take that responsibility and report. The 116 line is also open to adults. You can call and report anything.
Yeah.
So let's be our neighbors' keepers, let's be the community's watchdog, and I believe we'll be headed towards a better country, a better Kenya.
Niki Africa. Mtoto wa jamii.
Mtoto wa jamii, as you can see our setting.
Yes, very African. Eventually shake your earrings.
African theme. So that said, asanteni, endeleeni kubaki katika chaneli hii. Muendelee kutufuatilizia na tutazidi kuwapa nuggets of wisdom. Kiswahili inaitwaje?
Nuggets is a wisdom.
Hiyo.
Thank you for watching.
Thank you so much and keep it here.
Bye.
Bye.